What's up, Masters of the Universe fans? Welcome back to MOTU Review, where everything is forged in plastic and tested by power. Today we're diving deep into one of Eternia's most savage enforcers, Beastman, from the Masters of the Universe Revelation series. Now, Beastman has seen multiple releases across modern MOTU lines, especially alongside the Origin line. So the big question is, does this Revelations version stack up against its more retro-inspired counterpart? Let's find out.
If the paint's clean, I say it. If the joints are weak, I say it. If the sword looks weird in my hand, you know I'm gonna say it. MOTU review.
Let's kick things off with packaging. Right away, the Masters of the Universe Revelations packaging sets a premium tone. You've got that huge window display that clearly shows off the figures and its accessories, which is perfect for in-the-box collectors. But where the packaging really shines is the art direction. On the back of the box, you get this incredible high-energy artwork of Beastman mid-action with cracking, muscles tense, looking like he just walked straight out of a comic panel. It has personality before you even open the package. Now let's talk about one of my favorite features, the spine art. If you're collecting this line, you already know. Line these boxes up side by side and they form a connected mural of Eternia. Beastman's section blends seamlessly into that larger scene, which makes us feel like part of something bigger. On the back, you also get the rest of the figures included in this first wave. So it kind of acts like it's a little checklist, so you can count down and see which ones you still need versus which ones you have. Of course, here we have He-Man, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Skeletor, Beastman, and Spikor. We have already reviewed the first four. We're now on Beastman, and don't worry, Spikor is coming up soon. So for packaging, I definitely give this one a 9 out of 10. But let's dive even deeper into this figure. We'll take him out and get a really good look at Beastman. Moving into Sculpt Detail, and this is where things really get interesting. This Beastman is clearly inspired by the Revelations animated design, but it's been upgraded with realistic textures that give it that hybrid look. Cartoon accuracy meets physical presence. The fur sculpt is layered and directional, not just stamped or repetitive. You can see flow in the strands, especially in the arms and in the torso area. It also gives him that wild, untamed feel that Beastman should have. Now, compare that to the Origins Beastman. Origin sticks to a more simplified, retro aesthetic, smoother surfaces, less texture, and more exaggerated proportions to give it that classic look. The Revelations version, on the other hand, adds depth and realism without losing the character's identity. The head sculpt is another highlight. That snarling expression, the sculpted fangs, those intense eyes, it captures that barely controlled aggression perfectly. While he doesn't have a whole lot of armor, the armor that he does have is very clean and very sharp. For Revelations, he simply came out in just his blue loincloth and belt, and even that looks very nice with some texture design on both the loincloth and the belt. Paint application here is strong. Smooth transitions into the orange fur. You get some clean armor lines and minimal to no bleed. Like my figure has zero bleeding in the paint, which I really like. And back here you can see where it goes from the orange fur almost like a brown in certain areas. I really do like that. Compared to Origins, this feels like a higher end, more detailed interpretation, less toyetic, more display focus. I give this one a solid 9.2 out of 10. This figure uses the Masterverse Articulation system, which is built for dynamic posing. Of course, we're getting a ball jointed head. We can look up, down, side to side. You have a bicep swivel. You have double jointed elbows. You have that wrist that can hinge and swivel. Of course, you have that torso crunch, twist of the waist, legs that can go out, down, forward, back, swivel at the thigh, double jointed knees, boot cut swivel, and that ankle that can hinge and swivel side to side. Now, compare this To the Origins figure, you don't get the bicep cut. You have a single jointed elbow, no torso crunch, no thigh twist, and a single jointed knee. So Origins keeps things intentionally simple with a more limited range designed to mimic that retro feel. It does get the job done for basic poses, but it's not built for high-end articulation. With the Masterverse version, you can get those deep hunched stances, wide attack poses, and dynamic whip cracking positions. Now, there are still minor limitations due to the bulky sculpt, especially in the torso. That's to be expected. With this Beastman, he's more hunched forward, so you have to get a lot of the weight going backwards to get him into a good battle stance. But honestly, it fits the character. He's not meant to be overly flexible. He's meant to feel powerful and grounded. Overall, I give Articulation an 8.5 out of 10. Now let's talk accessories. This Beastman includes his signature whip, which is a very nice design. I do like the handle on this, set in just straight black. And then he has that cloth whip, which is still very, very nice. Out of the box, he does come with an open display hand and a gripping hand. He also does come with 2 Fists of Fury, so if he wants to be punching out Man-at-Arms or He-Man, he can do so. He also comes with a left open hand and a right gripping hand. To switch these out, you just simply, again, pop it off at the wrist, pop the new one back on. Now, with these hands, he does get a pretty solid, tight grip on his whip, so you are going to be able to get some good poses with him holding the whip. Even with these improvements over, say, what Origins had with his accessories, which is just the added whip, this still feels a bit light compared to some of the other figures in the Revelations line. An alternate head sculpt or an additional accessory would have really elevated this package. Maybe an extra weapon or something to help kind of get him standing apart. However, I do understand because this is basically what he was in the Revelation line. So while it's an upgrade over Origins in terms of flexibility and presentation, it still does leave a little bit of room for improvement. As far as accessories, I give him a 7.8 out of 10. All right, let's get into display. This is where Beastman really separates himself. That bright orange fur absolutely pops on the shelf, especially when placed along other darker characters. But more importantly, it's his presence. The sculpt gives him that leaning forward, aggressive posture that naturally draws attention. The Revelations version brings motion and intensity. You can pose him mid-whip crack, lunging forward, or standing behind Skeletor as the enforcer. And thanks to the articulation, those poses actually look natural and dynamic. In a full Revelation setup, Beastman adds energy to the display in a way that the Origin figures typically don't aim to. While Origins is about recreating the past, Revelation is about enhancing the present. And Beastman benefits from that in a big way. I give him a 9 out of 10. So, let's go ahead and add everything up. Packaging, you get a 9 out of 10. Sculpt, a 9.2. Articulation, 8.5. Accessories, 7.8. And display, a 9.0. Which gives Beastman a score of 8.7 out of 10. So where does this Beastman land? Compared to the Origin figures, this is clearly a more advanced display-driven figure. Origin gives you nostalgia, Revelation gives you presence. And depending on what you're collecting, there's room for both. But if you're looking for a Beastman that feels alive on your shelf, I'd go with this one. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know. Are you Team Origins or Team Revelations? And remember, here at MOTU Review, everything is forged in plastic, tested by power. I'll see you next time.